Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Lending Report for March 28th, 2025. Leaving March behind, headed into the spring seasons. The weather's been really nice. Super enjoying that. Hope everybody else is. But let's get into it. It's been an interesting week. We'll start with March mortgage applications. Purchases up 1%. Refinances down 5% in terms of activity. For jobless claims, those filing for unemployment for the first time was down 1,000. Continuing claims down 25,000. So again, the seesaw that we continue to see with that. But let's get into a few slides to share with you. And we'll start with appreciation, some positive news in the market. This has always been good for us. Despite all the naysayers saying there could be a market crash, there's a meltdown in the housing coming. This is not what we're seeing. Again, showing positive appreciation for the month of January. Case-Shiller showing up 4.1% from 4% and up year over year from 3.9%. So this is really positive. FHFA, so this reports on appreciation for those homes that hold a conforming loan balance. That up to 4.8% versus 4.7%. So still seeing 0.1% appreciation. So this is very good for us. Appreciation, housing, owning homes, still showing to be a very good wealth builders for individuals. So appreciation positive as always. This week, announced car tariffs beginning April 2nd, 25% on cars. And this could be really interesting for us and how it plays out in the market. If it's just a bump in a road, happens really quickly, not going to see much there. But if this is something that continues to kind of pervade the market, we could likely see used cars prices going up. So people staying away from purchasing luxury cars because of these tariffs. Again, go back to what we saw a couple of years ago with used car prices, inflationary in response going up. So this could be interesting to see what happens with the economy. Could be a market mover slowing us down when we're already seeing less travel in the U.S. So leisure and hospitality, which have always been inflationary for us, showing some possible slowdowns. We'll see how that plays out. Within the market and what's happening this week, we did see income and spending for February being reported, and personal spending was at 0.4% month over month, but January was revised down 0.1%. And what's kind of driving a little bit of mayhem today is the fact that it missed estimates. So the expectation was that it would be up 0.5%, only at 0.4%. Personal income now, what shows this is very tempered response because it shows that it's up 0.8%, which is much better than the estimates of 0.4%. But what is of note here and what it's kind of catching on is that within the private sector wages, that actually dropped significantly from 3.9% to 3.2%. So as you do a deeper dive into these reports, while that preliminary income looks good, if that private sector wages are dropping that much, is it really that good that we saw personal income going up? Because there are some signs of slowing within the economy. PCE came out today, so this kind of leads into that for February of 2025. This is the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. Now, bear in mind when they report these numbers, they round it to the 10th. We're giving you a slightly, we're moving out the decimal 3 points for you here, so you can get a better idea of the rounding, what the actual numbers were. But they reported a headline number of 0.3%. Month over month, and then year over year at 2.5%. Now, the core number, this is the Fed's favorite because it strips out energy and food costs, but the core was at 0.4% up, and the estimate was 0.3%. So showing some increasing activity in inflation right now. Year over year number at 2.8%, and the estimate, the expectation was to be at 2.7%. Now, within these numbers, what was running hotter in the report were utilities, healthcare, and computer software costs. So just wanted to point that out, what is moving that PCE number at this time. Now, some of the things that might help us in the next coming months that aside from the car tariffs, what we're seeing there, student loan debt, now delinquencies at 9.7 million borrowers delinquent on student loans. And the reason for that, and that was at the end of last year that was reported, during COVID, there was a moratorium of 3.5 years on making those payments. And then they were given a 1-year grace period to make those repayments. So for about 4 years, people weren't making payments on student loans. So they had this incoming money from the stimulus that was given for COVID, and they weren't putting it towards their car or their student loan payments. And now they've got to factor in those student loan payments again. So not only are we seeing that just the cost of consumer goods being high, but now we got an added debt or 2 or 3, however many student loans you might have, back into the equation. And this could really impact consumer spending. So not only could the tariffs with cars impact us, not only private sector wages being actually down, the fact that people have new debts to account for if they have student loans, this could lead into some interesting numbers over the next couple of months. We might continue to see more inflation. And what is unfortunate for inflation and consumers is that it's good for long-term interest rates. This does tend to drive interest rates down. And we are getting a bit of a run today as a result of the PCE report. You can see we are in the green today. This is good. This is what we want to see. Over the past couple of weeks, we had lost some ground. So we're seeing a nice drive right now. We're up 18 basis points. So we'll see how that continues to play out over the day. But this is where we're at for the week. Still a great time to buy, in my opinion. You're still going to get the advantage of purchasing when there's not a lot of competition right now. Rates are showing some improvement. That is going to drive some activity if they continue to go down. So if you want to beat the market when it's highly competitive and continue to build wealth through home appreciation, this is what you got to do. You got to reach out, get pre-approved. Let me know how I can help you. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.